Hello and welcome to this first presentation from Climate Week Northeast. Young people, actions speak louder than words. The focus today is going to be on gardening and a case study from Banchory. There's a number of sessions we're running this week under Climate Week Northeast, along with various partners that you can see on the screen there. All of the sessions, as well as linking to climate, linked to the Convention on the Rights of the Child and the Sustainable Development Goals. It's very much about action, and so we'll move straight on and have a look at the Banchory Academy presentation.
Hi, I'm Juliet Gardner and this is my colleague.
I'm Carol.
Today we are going to talk to you about outdoor learning environments.
So anyone who works in schools, I'm sure will be seeing the same things that we have seen over the last few years. And as you'll see on this list here, there's a lot of anxiety and a big increase in attention in the classroom. We are seeing kids with feelings of inadequacy and just a lot of low self-esteem. And really our way of trying to deal with that is to get these kids reconnected with nature.
We just want to talk a little bit about Richard Louv. He was the first person to bring widespread attention to the alienation of children from the natural world. He's written a book called Last Child in the Woods, which is definitely worth a read. It's got lots and lots of information about how children are missing out on being in nature and what the effects of it. There is a large evidence base to show that time spent in nature can restore attention, improve mental health and reduce anxiety. So we have used the work of Kaplan and Louv to inform our outdoor education programme at Banchory Academy, where both of us work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Kaplan back in 1989, they have a theory that suggests that attention can be restored through time spent in nature, and they talk about how the resetting is what they call effortless attention. Which nature provides us with naturally. So we think that this theory works really brilliantly.
And what we're trying to do is embed this within our education so that children who need this get this throughout the school day. So what we're doing at Banchory is we are delivering horticulture qualifications. We have pupils that come out for social therapeutic horticulture sessions, which is much more informal and it's just small groups where the gardening sort of enables them to chat and talk about things that are going on in school. We have outdoor learning for all our BGE pupils and targeted support groups. The garden is also used as a space to decompress from stimulation of school environment. We've got pupils who come into our learning centre and they'll just take 5 minutes to go and sit in the garden and relax, and then they're able to go back into class. And we also have a Primary 7 transition outdoor learning programme at one of the feeder schools, since I work there 1 day a week as well.
So one of those things that we mentioned there, outdoor learning. So over the last sort of 10 years, we've been working quite hard to try and embed outdoor learning into the secondary school. It's often associated with nurseries. You see a lot of like nature nurture nurseries popping up, but not so many secondary schools. And I think that's because the curriculum is so tight. But what we are seeing is that our teenagers actually really need this resetting time. And the outdoor learning programme here allows us to, well, there's two different ways that we usually do it. We have a day a week where we have a small targeted group of pupils who need more extensive resetting. You know, that 10 minutes in the garden is not really doing it for them. They need a little bit more than that. So what we do with them is we take them out 1 day a week, every week for the school year, and we go out and we explore. We learn, we talk, we just see what's out there. The other way we do this is we take whole register classes, out again 1 day a week. So that's, we focus on all our BGE pupils. So that's our first, second and third years. So each register class will get 1 day out in S1, the same in S2, the same in S3. And there we are really focusing mostly on what you would probably think of as your traditional forest school type activities. So when we're outside, it's really about getting the pupils to have ownership and responsibility for their learning. So basically, we're setting up scenarios, we plan what we think we're going to do, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that. We have to be really sort of ready to go with the flow, because what we want is children's fascination to take the lead in where the learning goes. So anything that we plan is very open-ended. It can be creative, imaginative, it could be skills-based. So we're setting up a scenario and then we're following the lead of the children and where they want to go with that. Okay. Forest School, if that's something that is of interest to you, there are loads and loads of books out there, but these are a few that I think are really good. Obviously, Richard Louv, we've mentioned. The Sarah Knight book, Forest School for All, is amazing. And then that The Dirty Teacher, I'm sure many of you have heard of Juliet Robertson. She's written a whole series of books which, you know, allows you to take maths and all sorts of different subjects outside. So she's absolutely brilliant if you're looking for some inspiration.
So obviously not everyone has a school garden, so we're going to talk a little bit how to set up a school garden. And developing a school garden obviously can be a little bit daunting. So we just wanted to tell you a little bit about the story at Banchory Academy. So in 2019, this is where we started. We managed to reclaim some land from the council and get it fenced in as part of the school grounds. And so this was our blank canvas. In the first few days, we had there was a deputy head teacher who had this vision, and working with other teachers in the school, nobody that was overly qualified, but having the pupils and teachers who had skills, this is what we started doing. We started to build little areas, a little outdoor classroom area that you can see here with the wooded area, and we've got a little covered area for storing wood and storing tools. We didn't at this point have a shed or anything else. This is just what we started with and what we went with. After that, we asked the children what they really wanted to do, and I think most of them were really keen to start digging a vegetable patch. So we got the kids to mark it out. We got some compost from a farmer that came and donated a trailer load of compost. We put fertilizer down. We managed to get some reclaimed fence posts from another teacher, and we made an edge for the vegetable garden, and we moved forward from there. Our vegetable patch now has masses of growth. We have cabbages, turnips, blueberries, strawberries. We managed to grow tomatoes last year. We put nasturtiums through it. We have had Brussels sprouts this year. Always grow potatoes. The pupils love to grow potatoes and things that they can make food with. So often they come in, they dig up the potatoes, and then we've bought an air fryer so they can make chips with the potatoes they've made. They also enjoy making soup, and last year we also managed to make some kimchi with some of our green tomatoes that hadn't quite ripened. It's a lot about the process of growing for the pupils. So if we found that if things don't work, it's a sort of learned experience that we are sharing with the children, and we talk about why it might not have worked. So there's nothing, we're not worried about failure. We're not worried about things not working. It's just have a go and then figure out why it went wrong or why it worked so well.
Yeah. It kind of links a little bit with what we're saying about the outdoor learning tasks. You know, the tasks that we're doing in the garden are also quite open-ended. It's like, you know, if someone suggests something, one of the pupils, and you think, that's not really going to work, then generally we'll just say, well, let's give it a go, let's see, because I think, you know, failure is about as much learning as the successes that we actually have.
And maybe some problem solving as well. We often get the kids to think about, how could we do that? We don't have a greenhouse. What could we build? What can we use that we've got? And obviously budget is always a problem. So it's often being quite creative.
Yeah, so the pond area that we have developed, that was brought about by the children. They decided that they wanted part of the garden to be more of a wild space, less manicured, if you like. So it was like, okay, well, let's go with it. How are we going to do it? So they had to research it. We designed it. They worked out what materials they'd need, how much it was going to cost, that kind of thing. And we literally built the pond from scratch, you know, dug it out and did all of the things that was needed to make that come alive.
I think the pond liner also came from a teacher's garage that they had stashed away somewhere, a bit of leftovers.
So we beg and borrow a lot of things that we might need, and it's actually amazing how many people have got will say, oh, I have got a bit of that lurking in the back of my shed or something. They're quite happy to give it in. So yeah, ask people for things. That's just a couple of little pictures of what our pond looks like. We've got lots of things in there. We've made hedgehog houses with the help of the technical department. We made bug hotels. We've got a frog hibernation hole and little toad holes, that kind of thing. We've had lots of wildlife in the pond, and actually we've got frogs hibernating everywhere in the garden at the moment.
I think the other thing, we haven't put a picture in of the fact that we've got a lawn that the kids also, they like to lawn mow, and we have sort of a rota going with the mowing of the garden, and we have a strimmer that the kids also have been trained to use. So the kids that are not so into creation and design might like more the mowing or the strimming. So there's a job for everyone, really.
Yeah. We had a pupil he's actually now left, but we had a pupil that his resetting task needed to be the cutting of the grass. He just absolutely adored it, and it was the thing that really settled him down. And even if the grass didn't need cut, the grass got cut, because that's what he liked to do.
So I work one day a week at Drumoak Primary School. So if I have one afternoon a week where I 2 years ago started teaching outdoor learning. So I was asked by the head teacher to start a garden with the pupils, and we were given this levelled area of land. It was totally neglected, nothing there apart from some weeds and a lot of deer poo. So we have, this is where we started. We started with this empty space, and we managed to get some trees from the Woodland Trust and start digging a little hedgerow. From there, that was like the autumn, that was August to September. Once the spring hit, the weeds all came through. So we ended up coming back after the Easter holidays to a jungle. So you can see here that the kids, they're being younger, they can't use, I don't use a battery powered lawnmower with them. So we have push mowers that we've managed to get from the men's shed. You see here the kids have been clearing the land. We had kids ahead of the boys with the push mowers, with secateurs cutting down the dock, and then the other pupils walking behind them with the push mowers. And as with Banchory, they also wanted a pond. So we have a task of boys that have been digging this pond, and hopefully this year we will get a pond liner and we will get it filled. I think the most important thing is the learning process. The children have had so much fun. This is the garden now. We are still really in the early stages here. We've got the trees planted. We've got a couple of raised beds. We've put down cardboard and then black liner to suppress the weeds. We've managed to get hold of some compost. And this spring, we've now got bulbs coming through. We've got garlic growing, onions growing that we've been growing over winter. I'm about to put our potatoes in. We've managed to get some blueberries, which we're hoping to grow, and we've got some apple trees. So it's really the learning process, just having a go, letting the kids enjoy themselves is what we found works the best. And here we have what we've got so far. We've got almost a garden going on here. As you can see, the kids enjoy it, and they've actually managed to mow a little, it looks like a little lawn that we've got.
Yeah, so we're just going to quickly mention compost, because somebody asked a question about this the last time we had one of these meetings, and we just wanted to sort of reassure people who were thinking of doing a school garden that you shouldn't really get hung up on, you know, creating compost or where you're going to get your compost from. If you need to go out and buy your compost initially, then, you know, that's absolutely fine. You should absolutely go for it. But what we have discovered through lots of trial and error is that the getting pallets and knocking up a compost heap is by far and away the cheapest, the quickest and easiest way of getting your own compost. So we've got 4 pallet composters on the go. We've also got hot composter, which was donated to us actually by a member of staff. And then we've got a couple of the green composters that you can get from the council. We've got a couple of wormeries as well on the go, because again, it's all about trialing it out, and the fact that the compost isn't working particularly brilliant, the hot composter is absolutely fine. Sorry, is absolutely fine as well. So really all you basically need is some old pallets, a screwdriver and some screws, and you can knock one together. So you can see we have one pupil in the top, he's putting one together. We have another pupil, she is cutting up all our brown material into our small pieces, and the sort of maintenance of the compost is part of the task that we do in the garden. So we regularly take everything out, we turn it over, we maybe move it into another section. You know, it's hard work, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, we had one initial delivery of compost, and since then we haven't had to get any more compost, and we're able to make our own. And then to try and make compost interesting when we're learning about it, we do things like we make edible compost, edible soil, which the kids really enjoy doing.
Just a quick little bit of information about soil, how this bacteria in soil can be absorbed through the skin and can be a natural source of serotonin. So often I think when I'm out in the garden, I come in and I can still smell the soil on my hands, and I really love that smell, but there's a reason for that. It's the serotonin, it's the happy hormone, which is a natural antidepressant and mood lifter. So I think that's really beneficial for a lot of children working with soil, getting their hands dirty. Often we don't wear gloves. If pupils want to wear gloves, we have them, but we often suggest that they don't wear gloves, so they're getting the soil on their skin.
Okay, so just briefly, we do have social and therapeutic horticulture pupils that will come down timetabled to have that little bit of time outside, and that for those tasks we're really thinking about working alongside pupils. So we try not to plan too much or over plan, certainly for those tasks. It depends on how that child's mood is on that day, what they feel like they can deal with. But things like watering and weeding and cutting the grass and really simple tasks like looking for frogs, let's give the pond a little bit of a clean, things like that are tasks that we normally do for our SDH pupils.
Obviously, some of the tasks that we have going on in the garden, we need a little bit of help with. Carol and I are teachers. We both love gardening. We're very passionate, but there are things that we can't do by ourselves. So we try to get involved the pupils with as much partnership working as possible. As part of the National 5 course for horticulture, they do have to do a work experience unit. So we have pupils working at the care homes, we have them working at Roy Cowie and Banchory, helping to service tools, and we also work with Bonnie Banchory in the village, which is a group in the village which do all the planters. They plant the bulbs, they plant the annuals, and they do the clearing of the annuals, clearing of the bulbs at various locations. However, a lot of the members of Bonnie Banchory are about 70, 75, 80. So they often need a large youthful task force, which we can provide. So we go down and help with the village, and it gives the kids something to drive past and show their parents, their grannies, that they're taking part in the local community, and gives them a bit of pride in what they're doing. Lets it be a bit more public. We also work with the Rotary Club. We had a shed which was a disaster where it was placed. The ground was uneven for about 2 years. We had a flooded shed, so we decided to ask the Rotary Club to help us level an area and move the shed. So they came in and worked with pupils for the full day. They told us what materials to get. We used grant money to order the materials, and then they stayed with us for the entire day, and we leveled the area, and then we moved the shed, which was really, really fun. The kids loved it, the Rotary Club loved it, and they're coming back to help us lay slabs for a greenhouse this year.
So yeah, money. This is always a difficult one, but basically we apply for as many grants as there are out there. So we're always looking for things that we can apply for. What you will find sometimes is that if you're a school, certainly it's harder sometimes to achieve grants, because what they want to see is that the links with the community, like how is what you're doing going to improve for your community as well as for your school. So we have worked quite closely with like care homes and things like that, where we've made planters out of pallets. Again, they're a fantastic resource, and planted them up, delivered them and maintained them, that kind of thing. So I mean, these are just a few examples of some of the places where we have managed to get grant money from. We've just been successful with the Tesco Blue Tokens, which is allowing us to buy our greenhouse, which we're really, really excited about. So we should get that up in the next few weeks.
I think we found writing applications for grants. We started and it took us quite a long time, but once we've got into it, we can now churn them out really quite quickly. Yeah. So we've applied for everything, and the more we've done it, the easier it's got.
Yeah, once you've done one, you can sort of apply it to another one if you just tweak it a little bit.
So throughout the year, we also enter awards and competitions to keep the kids interested. We have worked with Bob Donald, and he's come, and we started with I think it was the second level of the Garden Skills program we got. And last year we were awarded the top award, which was really exciting. It's always good for the kids to get acknowledgement, especially kids who might not get acknowledgement in other areas of the school. So we have done that. We do the Scottish Junior Forestry Award. We do the work with the RSPB Awards, the Finest Schools Awards. And another one that we have done over the years is the Pocket Garden competition.
Yeah, so we've done this one for a few years actually, and what we have found is it's a brilliant competition to do, which you can start over winter when it's harder to get outside, because that can be your planning process. So this was one that we did a number of years ago based on the Lighthouse Keepers lunch, wasn't it? Yeah, so you can basically just say there, you've got a theme and the kids have to plan it, plant it and present it.
And the deadline's May, which always seems like it's going to be quite difficult to get the plants growing for, because everything needs to be grown from seed. Mm-hmm. However, we've always managed to start early enough without a greenhouse, doing things inside, then hardening them off outside, to have the garden blooming by the end of May, which we are always quite surprised by, and we always do have a bit of a panic about.
Yeah. So that's an example of a plan that we just did. That was the one we just completed for last year, which was like a John Muir themed one. So that's the plan. So we worked on that over winter, and you can see there, the kids are making sections of the pocket garden in technical and stuff like that. So that keeps them really, really busy over the winter months, which is great.
We just wanted to finish with one of our favourite quotes from Richard Louv: "The future will belong to the nature smart, those individuals, families, business and political leaders who develop a deeper understanding of the transformative power of the natural world and who balance the virtual with the real. The more high-tech we become, the more nature we need." I think that one of the things we both love about Richard Louv is he's not saying that technology is bad. He's not saying we shouldn't be using it. He's not saying mobile phones are bad entirely. He's just saying that the more we have of the high-tech environment that we all live in, the more nature we need to give our children and ourselves.
Yeah, so basically our message is have fun with it, have a go, just don't worry about failing. It doesn't actually matter. Just give it a go, change it, repeat, and just do what your kids really love doing, and getting them outside, after all, is that's really what we're trying to do. So that's us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. Hopefully a whole lot in there to see. I'll just round up this session by summarizing the activities that are happening, and also by drawing attention to that QR code where you can give feedback